Who it is?
What's up?
Oh, you already hit record, you dickhead. Now I don't get to talk about it.
Yeah, he just started.
Great.
You don't get to talk about. You don't get to talk about what now that I'm recording.
Well, yeah. What can't we talk about today? Did something big happen in the world of fitness?
No, it's all fair game. We can talk about it.
We can talk about it. All right. So what happened? What's
Dude,
big enough to happen?
anyone driving in their car listening to this podcast just jumped out of their seat at you yelling.
I'm coming out of fucking retirement. I'll tell you what. You know, every old ex-CrossFit Games athlete is coming out. We're back, baby. We're back.
Before we get started, I want to. I'm going to lower Josh's volume a little bit.
Yeah, Josh had one too many shots of espresso this morning. He's off the wall.
I have my list in front of me of the things that you guys have told me I can't talk about. Alpha male. The alpha male list. Is there anything you want to add to the list before we start, you guys? Either of you.
There's plenty of things to talk about.
No, we're good. We're good. For everyone that you bring up that I don't want to talk about, I'm going to bring up Josh's just to even it out.
Perfect.
Fair enough.
I just want to clear up some rumors here real quick that are flying around wildly on the internet. Two rumors, one about each of you. The first one is it Matt? Is there any truth that Reebok paid you an undisclosed amount of money so that Rich could come out of retirement? What? Come on, let me finish, guys. So Rich could come out of retirement and win the games. Is there any truth to that rumor?
Oh man, I wish there was someone willing to pay me to do anything. That would be awesome.
To do anything. I love it.
And Josh, I heard that you got a contract presented to you to do a Trojan condom commercial, and that you were going to be just wearing one of those leather Troy outfits with the spear, and you were going to be on a horse, but that they couldn't find a horse small enough to make you look like a regular sized man, so it fell through. Is there any truth to that?
You know, that was going so well. It was going. The joke was. Come on, man! Until the end, and then you butchered it, and it's oh, you went back to the short side of things. It's that's all
as soon as
baby.
As soon as that came up, I was like, "Wow, Josh, you're pulling commercials. Good for you, man." And then Sevan just went hard left, and
not a big deal, boys. Sevan, if that's all you got on me is short, that I'm doing okay in life. I'll tell you that. I'm doing okay.
Matt, I have a subject that you're really going to like, and I really hope you side with me so we can pound Senior Bridges. It's an old car versus new car discussion. What are you doing with those glasses? I'm trying
to be like Sevan. Is this cool? Is this cool? Is this cool? Is my nose attached to my glasses? Is my nose attached to my glasses? It's like a disguise. It's a disguise.
It really does look like my nose and this mustache is attached to my glasses. That is actually true.
I know, it does. It's amazing.
So Matt, when I was a kid and we would drive around, and not even a kid, even into my early 20s, whenever I'd got in my car and I got on the freeway, you'd always see a car broken down on the side of the road. It was inevitable. And the hood of the car would be up, and it was just a common thing. And these days, you don't see that shit at all, ever. And the reason why you don't see it at all is because cars are so good today. It's just they don't break down. What do you think about that theory?
No, I think cars still break down, right? There's stuff
But you see them?
Dude, here in Cookeville, the highways are lined with cars, and there's no restrictions on towing, or where just leaving your car. So there will be a car parked on the same spot for 2 weeks, and just no one does anything, and then just one day it's gone.
So where this question has come from is I told my story yesterday to Sevan. Me and Sevan had a lot of phone calls yesterday. And I told him
we were talking about your retirement mostly, man.
Obviously. And so I brought up my old 85 Chevy K30 truck that I have, and the fuel filter on my truck, the vent plug, it's basically a little screw. It's a 3x8 screw, but it's plastic. It cracked and it was leaking. And I'm telling Sevan, this part is kicking my ass. I cannot find a plug a 3/8 plug that goes on top of this thing. And so I finally texted a buddy who helped me find the truck and is pretty knowledgeable. And he has himself, John Wellborn. For anybody who's listening, John might be listening. I doubt it, but maybe. But he's like, dude, you're probably just going to need to get a whole fuel filter or a whole new fuel pump. And so that's what I had to do. But Sevan's like, why do you have old cars? There's, new cars are better. And I'm like, I don't know if that's true or not, to be honest. And he's like, well, do you ever see cars on the side of the road? And I go, no, but did you know that there are tow trucks that are state owned? I think California State has trucks that are driving on the highway just in case accidents happen to get them off the highway. So my story was I got new tires put on my Tundra that I used to have a couple years back. I'm leaving the place. I'm leaving it. I just got new tires put on. And I get on the highway, I'm going about 55, 60 miles an hour, and all of a sudden my car starts shaking, and then boom, all of a sudden I see my front left tire about 7 car lengths ahead of me, and I'm sliding at about 60 miles an hour down the highway, and on my rotor, and I slid for 800 meters. Thank God I was by myself in my car. My kids weren't in my car or anything like that. Nobody got hurt. I'm watching that tire, just praying that it doesn't bounce over the median into oncoming traffic. Yeah. It didn't, thank goodness. And but anyways, so I'm sitting there in the middle of the highway, dead center of the highway, with 3 tires. Obviously, I can't drive. My car wouldn't move. And all of a sudden, I'm talking within 5 minutes, there was a tow truck in front of me, lifting me up, pulling me off of the highway. And I was
and they just showed up.
Yeah, they just showed up. I didn't call them. I hadn't called them yet. And I asked the guy, I go, where the hell did you come from? And he told me that California has that, where they have tow trucks on the road.
I think that's a lot of places, any big city where it's if the car is broken down, it's such an inconvenience and it causes such a bottleneck that it's more cost effective to just have the tow trucks around all the time.
Yeah, I was shocked. It was crazy.
25 years ago, you'd be going up over the Grapevine, headed south or on Highway 5 in California, and the side of the road would be littered with cars. And now you don't. And I say that Josh's story holds no weight into the reason why there's no cars on the side of the road there anymore. That it's just cars are better and they don't overheat. And Josh, I think it's called Caltrans, the people who drive around and tow cars.
Okay. No, I think did you look it up? People are still driving old cars.
No. Oh yeah. Very few though. Very few.
It's funny though, Josh. I had that same thing happen to me one time, and I was working, and I was driving. It was a 5500, big tanks on the back, and I'm driving down the highway, and the tanks are full, and then the back right kind of and I was like, huh, what was that? And then it had dualies on the back, and it took the hit, and then I'm like, oh, that was weird, and I kept going, and then I see a tire going down the ditch, and I was like, where did the tire come from? What happened? And then I look in my mirror, I'm like, oh my God, that was my tire, and then the second one let go. And so I had I think it was a 1,000-gallon tank on the back, so it had some weight pushing me, and half mile of just brake caliper or whatever it was, scraping through the pavement, and it was terrifying.
Dude,
and then the company tried to blame it on me.
Mine was they were very. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I called them. I'm like, hey, I don't know what happened. My wheel just fell off. I knew that they overloaded the trucks. They put too much weight in these things, and the initial reaction was oh my God, so sorry. We'll send we'll make some calls. We'll get you picked up. Whatever it was. And then it was when I get back to the office, they're trying to cover their ass for liability, and they're like, "Did you check the lug nuts before you got in the truck?" I'm like, no, who checks the lug? They're like, this is your fault.
That's standard issue.
They're trying to make me defensive of basically saying you have to pay for this damage because it's your fault. And then when they say all right, you don't need to pay, then I'm not like, yo, you almost killed me, you know? I mean, it's just a terrible company, terrible people. But yeah, I mean, it is shocking when you're just going down the highway and then you see your own tire pass you.
It was crazy, man. It was a very, exactly. That's all I kept thinking. And if I would have clicked one little thing wrong, or just maybe even turned my tire or my steering wheel to the right, like, I guarantee that truck would have just started rolling, you know, without a doubt. At that speed.
I had it once too. I was driving, I think the regionals when it was in Boston, and I had a tire blowout on the highway, and I'm doing like 75 from Vermont to Boston, and it, no warning, no nothing, and it sounded like a shotgun went off in the passenger seat, and the whole tire like became one strip of metal and rubber, and it held on by like an inch of material, and just like was whipping around at 70 miles an hour, destroyed the front quarter panel, the passenger door, took the mirror off, like destroyed it. So I pull over and like I'm walking and it ripped the whole, like there was a panel on the outside of the door and it like ripped it off, and it's like, I don't know, a couple hundred yards back on the highway. And so I get the car pulled over, I get it all situated. I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, I should go grab that panel, put it in the trunk of my car. I'll put it back on later. And a just pure misdoubtfire move. As I'm walking to it, a semi truck just comes, like blasts its horn, smashes it, and I just like stopped. I was halfway there, just stopped, and just turned around, went back to my car. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Well, that was that.
Yeah.
Matt, in the very first, I always struggle to call this thing a podcast. In our very first chat. We opened, and the question I said was, "Hey, are you going to compete next year?" Did you think that I had been in your emails, reading your emails and your text messages?
No, I mean it's the number one question I've gotten asked for the last like 4 years. It's like,
damn.
No, nobody even gives you a minute. It's like during your interview after the last event, people are like, "So, you going to do it again next year?" And it's like, Jesus, man, like let me have a moment with celebrating this one, like, and I've never tried to just give a blank answer of like, yep, I'm doing it. It's like, no, like this whole thing involves more than just me, you know, like I have a team that supports me. I have a lot of other people that are sacrificing things alongside me. And so, you know, I want to take their wants and needs into consideration. And then also like right after a win, you're on a high. And so it's like the competition itself, it's like, yeah, that's the easy part, you know. That's you're hanging out with buddies, you know, you're getting to show off what you built all year, and so it's so easy in that moment of like, yo, I just won a ton of money, I just had a great weekend, and now my resume has this big bonus on it. So it's very easy in the moment to be like, yeah, I'm coming back next year. But I try to take time every year to sit back and actually like weigh the pros and cons of doing it all again.
You use the word sacrifice, and it's interesting you say that because I have an adverse reaction to it when people will be like, "Oh, I've sacrificed so much to have kids," and at that point, when you call something a sacrifice, you're sort of kind of separating it or compartmentalizing your life. Like I would never say I sacrificed so much for my kids. You know what I mean? Because it's just my life and it just rolls. So is the fact that you even start thinking of it as sacrifice part of okay, I'm seeing some red flags?
No, I think with something like having kids or a marriage or, you know, whatever it is, like I hope I never see that stuff as, you know, dealing with sacrifice. Because I have the same thing, you know, I try to be careful with my words, but with this, I think there is some sacrifice that's involved, you know, like all of us athletes have these amazing opportunities to travel the world and meet new people and have these awesome experiences. And for the last couple of years, I've said no to most of those things. Even if it's going to take a 0.5% away, or like my training the following day isn't going to be absolutely ideal. And there's so many of like, yeah, I probably could do that trip and be fine. I probably could go out to that party and be fine the next day, but I'm not willing to take that chance of like, what if I finish the games in second place, 10th place, whatever it is, and look back at my season and think like, what if I never went on that vacation? What if I, cleaned up my diet a little bit more? All these what ifs. And after 15, I was like, no more what ifs. If I'm going to do it, I'm dedicating everything to it. But I think like if it were a lifelong career, like a 9-to-5 job, no, I wouldn't make those sacrifices. Because that's a lifetime, but I know the timestamp on what we're doing is, in the grand scheme of things, it's very short. So I was willing to make those sacrifices.
We know the top 5 reasons why Josh isn't competing, but But we don't know why you're not competing.
Yeah.
Like what are these things that you're calling? What are these things that you're calling? What are these things that are on the other end of the scale?
Sacrifices, Matt. That
yes,
I'm going to unsacrifice.
I'll
thank
flip
you,
it.
Matt.
What reasons are there for me to still compete?
Six championships.
Money,
yeah, but then after 6,
money,
well, 7, then 8,
exactly.
then 9,
then 8, then 9, then 10.
Like, do I need to stick around until something breaks? I
think what we need to figure out, Matt, is that you're not proven yet, and so yes, we need to see 6. No, I'm just kidding, dude.
No, that's a good question, and so you're asking a question about my question. So then let me ask another question about your question.
Ooh, here we go.
Why did you originally get into it? What were the reasons that you got into it, and did you check those goals off, or did you scratch that itch? I don't mean to make a presupposition that they were goals, but is there some itch that you scratched that's taken care of?
I mean, like the original reason why I started competing was for pocket money. You know, it was an outlet for me because I stopped Olympic weightlifting, and I went from training 2-3 times a day to none, and so I came into CrossFit and I had that instant gratification of like, oh, this is something I'm good at, and how often do you not enjoy something that you're good at? And then, I'm able to pull like $1,000 every weekend or every other weekend, and the competition started ramping up. And I was like, this is a great way to build a nest egg, because I always thought I would have to get the 9-to-5 job. And so I figured, if I can enter into that 9-to-5 world and say with $100,000 worth of prize money over a year or two, and I'm like, I can have a full down payment on a house, so I don't have to pay PMI. I can not have a car payment. I could start one leg up. And then it just became like about the daily challenge of like, all right, I want to, at the end of the year, I want to be able to do 50 unbroken handstand push-ups. Just say that's my goal. Well, what can I do today to get me to where I want to be in a year? And now, like the CrossFit day of like, there's endless movements and modalities and rep schemes, all this stuff. And so it was really fun, basically problem solving and then trying to push myself. Like when I first got in, you have your benchmark number and you're like, that's the best I think is possible right now. And it's like, all right, well, what can I do? How do I break this down into absolute tiny daily baby steps so that in a year I can add 5 pounds to that lift? I can shave 10 seconds off, all this stuff. So I think it was just a daily gratification of like checking that box of trying to figure out how to do it and then taking the steps to, yeah. And
so you lost the, go ahead, Josh.
No, go ahead. No, you go ahead, Sevan.
You lost the desire to do that. Josh has just nothing nice to say, so he's like just.
I have lots of nice things to say.
No, I didn't lose the desire to do it. I think my interests elsewhere are to a point that it's like, okay, how long do I keep putting off these other things that I want to do? I'm very happy with what I accomplished in the sport. I'm very happy with where I am and what the sport has given me, in terms of opportunities, people, everything. I wouldn't change where I am today for anything. But I am very excited for what's next in terms of, moving projects, just starting a different chapter. It was the same as like when I finished weightlifting. And it was like this daunting thing because I had nothing lined up for what's next. When I finished school, I was like, it was daunting because I didn't know what was next. And so it's the same here, but like I've had enough experience with, turning to a new chapter that I have some stuff lined up that I'm very excited for. I think my schedule is going to get way more busy than it ever was when I was doing CrossFit, just because I said no to everything. So yeah, I mean, I still love what I did. I'm going to keep doing it. Obviously not to the extent that I was of like training 6 hours a day, doing an hour of body work and bedtimes, wake up times. I'm not going to have that craziness, but I'm still going to keep training.
What are these?
Hold on. Yeah, hold on there, nose. Keep that mouth shut. Do you think that you'll get the itch and come back ever? Or is that right now it's 100%? I know this is so fresh that it's like, so this is it, but is this a Michael Jordan?
No, so I've said it, like I would be foolish to think that I'm going to show up to a competition and not have a moment or a feeling of like, damn, I missed this. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to bet over the next couple of months, I'll go through multiple highs, multiple lows. Right now, like the response I got when I put up that post, I genuinely thought like I would get a couple messages, but the general response would be like, all right, who cares? On to the next one. So, I mean, to see how kind a lot of people have been has really been overwhelming. It's incredible. But I know, like, it's only a matter of time before they're talking about the next thing. Like, I'd be oblivious to think otherwise. And then at the next competition, there's going to be a new fittest man on earth. There's going to be a new champion. I really hope I do well enough in my next ventures that I'm happy for that person, that like I'm not sitting on the sidelines thinking like, shit, I should have signed up. Shit, I could have done it. No, I don't want that feeling. And I don't want to leave the sport. Like, it's been such a huge part of my life that I don't want to treat it like I did weightlifting when I first left that. I had resentments build up. I felt like a failure. And, where I walked away and I blocked everyone out of my life, basically. Or I just didn't stay in contact with them the way I wish I did. So even though I'm like stepping away from competing, well, I hope I'm still showing up to competitions. That's where all my friends are. That's the people I love.
Matt, excuse me, Mr. Fraser,
yeah.
Excuse me. I think Mr. Bridges was asking you if you would ever consider competing again in the games, like if you took a year off. And then
no, so what I'm saying is like, I'm sure there will be moments where I'm thinking like, damn, I was good at that and I made a great living at it. Like, why did I stop? But then, no, the plan is I am never, ever competing again.
Good.
Ever.
I don't know if I believe you, but I will take it for what you say.
Josh,
as you say it right now.
Josh, you've watched me quit a workout halfway through when I was training, when I had a goal. Now I'm like, I have no competition on the horizon.
Right.
You think
No, but I think the big picture there is Josh has seen you. You could quit quitting. Like your thing is that you're going to quit.
There it is.
Change your mind. Yeah, you could quit quitting.
You're just a quitter, Matt. We all know it.
Matt, two things. I got to ask two questions now because Josh is going to try to be part of the show.
I'll turn my mic off. Don't worry.
One, would you consider just trolling the Open and just winning the Open and then not going to the games? I mean, I would. That's what I would do if I were you. Just big dick CrossFit like that.
So I was FaceTiming with Vellner yesterday, and
I'm sorry.
No, dude, Vellner's awesome. Vellner's one of my favorite people. And he was saying, he's like, are you doing the Open? I was like, no. Like, why would I do that to myself?
Right.
And then he said, he was like, dude, there's prize money. He's like, this is the first year that they're putting prize money for the Open. And I was like, oh, how much? And I was going through a bad area of service. and I thought he said 50,000, and I was like, oh, like 50 grand for 3 workouts. I might give this a whack. And then he was like, no, it's 15, like 1.5, and I was like,
Still, 3 workouts, 15 grand, 5 grand a workout. Ain't a bad day. Ain't a bad pay day.
It's not a bad day. Not a bad day. But as you and I both know, it's not just those 3 workouts. It's the month. It's the month of preparation going into it.
And it's the stress each week of if your videos are gonna hold the standard or get kicked back, or get told that they're good and then get kicked back. One of those.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you submit the video early, you get the approval, and then it still gets released, and they'll just change their mind. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The open is the most stressful. So I've done it before where I thought very strong. All right, I think I won this workout worldwide. Yeah. And then I watched the video. I know the reps were good, but it was the handstand push-ups with the tape line, and my shoes blended. Like I forget if it was the tape in my shoes were the same color or my shoes and the wall were the same color. Anyways, it looked terrible, and I was like, I can't submit this.
Yeah,
and
there was nothing.
And so
there was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And so I was pretty confident that I had like the top time in the world, and so. It was like on Saturday or something, I put my score up on my story to try to give other people a target to beat. And I already knew their times. Like people had told me like, hey, so-and-so got this time, like you beat him. And I was like, all right, I'm going to post my score. Hopefully they do it again to beat me. And they did. Yeah. And I was like, cool, now I don't have to submit a video.
Perfect. There was nothing more stressful in the open than thinking that you had the top time in the world. Like
it's terrible.
As silly and stupid as it sounds, it was the most stressful thing because you knew the internet world was going to come out in full force because there's a gazillion internet coaches who think that they know everything and see everything, and that's not the standard I would hold in my gym.
Yeah,
and you're like, okay, pal, whatever. But I mean, there is
it's the worst, dude. I've asked like, hey, can you just keep the $2,000 and not release my video? Like I don't cut range of motion, but it's like if you're doing 50 deadlifts for time, it's like there's going to be one that your shoulders don't.
Cannot be.
Exactly. And it's like I know I move very well. I hold good standards, but there's going to be something, and then the camera angle too. It's like, what is it? If you do wall balls and your camera is low, it doesn't look like you hit parallel.
Oh yeah. You definitely can never come from a low up angle.
Exactly.
How about the year Josh was on the edge of the camera frame and it didn't even look like he was standing up? Yeah, you were like way on the left.
I think that's a video we're talking about.
Yeah, that was a video that my score. I submitted my score early. The CrossFit reviewed it. They said you're good, and then I got a call on Tuesday after the internet world, had its way with my video.
And it's too late for you to redo it now.
It's too late. I literally told Dave on the phone, I go, I will go to a gym right now and I will redo it and I'll send you the video. And he's like, no, we can't do it. We're cutting your score. And I know Dave, I don't think it came from Dave. I think it came from other people. But yeah, man, it was brutal.
Amazing. So a mob on the internet attacked you after something you had done was already been approved. And
I don't know where you're going with this.
It was that's amazing.
Dude, I had the same thing happen to me. I got an email from CrossFit. A picture got posted of me doing the workout, and it was like in a transition. I did.
Oh, I remember this. This was the
dumbbell lunges.
Dumbbell lunge. Yep.
I was at the open announcement, and I asked Dave, like, "Hey, what's the rule on holding the dumbbell?" And I'm like, "Dumb it down to the simplest." And he was like, as long as you have your pointer finger and your thumb touching around the neck of the dumbbell, you're good. And in the picture, it looks like I'm holding the dumbbell like this in my hand but I was holding it like my fingers were connected. I'm following the rules. And a picture got posted, not even the video, a picture. Yeah. I get an email from HQ that says, hey, we saw this picture. You're doing it wrong. Your score is deleted. You need to do it again. Don't bother sending a video. We've already rejected your score. I was like, are you shitting me? Like,
what the?
Like, you don't even know if that picture is from a warm up. You don't know if it's a picture from the workout. Nothing. And they just said, don't bother trying to rebuttal this. And I was like, cool, guys, thanks. Yeah, that was a real treat.
The thing that always upset me about that kind of stuff was the judge in CrossFit, even in live competitions, like in the CrossFit Games and stuff, where the judge was always right, and the athlete. There was no rebuttal from the athlete whatsoever. Unless
it's in their favor. Like a rebuttal can happen if you did something wrong, but a rebuttal can't happen if you're wrong. Judges say,
yeah, whatever the judge says goes. And on my second in 17, it was the chipper workout, and the guy is judging me from the far side of and he's calling no reps on my left leg, and he's judging me from my complete right side.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, dude, I'm doing nothing different than what I'm doing on my right side. And he's calling no reps left and right, and then doing the same thing on the shoulder. It was the dumbbell shoulder overhead one too, the same thing. And I was like, I'm hitting the exact same position, and I'm furious at the end of the workout because I literally was crushing the workout and then got caught by like 4 people because this judge was no repping me, and I was losing my mind. I go to Bosman. Bosman's like, all no reps. Like wouldn't even look at me to have a conversation. I'm like, dude, I don't even know what to say to you right now. Like
I've had it.
That kind of thing is just so irritating. Where it's like you can't like. Referees and umpires in Major League sports or professional sports, they get graded and critiqued and told, like, if you're doing a bad job.
Oh, Jesus.
What are you saying, oh, Jesus, for?
Come on. Go on.
Are you praying?
Go on.
What are you
Professional sports, they get critiqued, feedback for the judges. Go on.
Umpire.
I apologize. That was supposed to stay inside that I was judging you. Go on.
Oh.
Yeah,
you have to beat the judge. You know, every professional athlete who's worth a fucking dime knows he has to beat his opponent and the judge.
Should the judge not be held to the standard, though, too?
Yes, they should be. But
then what are you saying? I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that. Whatever. Like, that's going to happen. I understand there's human error, right?
Not just human error, but you have to beat the judge.
Exactly.
You're not just competing against the other person. You have to win that situation. Exactly.
I agree with you. But should the judge be held to a standard? And then you see that those same judges left and right, and they never did they get critiqued? Did they get told, hey,
that's a good question.
You weren't doing a good job?
Do we know if they did? Do you know if they didn't?
No, I don't.
Let me ask you that.
I don't. But the way that Bosman handled the situation afterwards, I'll use his name, whatever, Bosman. But the head judge is sitting there telling me, like, no, he was 100% correct, all no reps. And you're like, really?
I've had it 99% of the time when you walk onto the floor, judges are great. You know, they're there to make sure, like, they're basically rep counters. But I've had a couple times where it was like, my judge, it's like, you are so wrong. There's no leg to stand on. And then I remember once it was double unders, and it was sets of 50 double unders. And my judge was counting the rep I was going into, I think. But anyways, like, I'd be doing double unders. I'm counting in my head, and he'd be like, 48, 49, 50. And so I would stop and start walking. He's like, no, you got one more. I'm like, you already said 50. And so I would do one more, move head. And it was on the third time that it happened. I'm finally like, dude, stop. Like, you're counting wrong. And Bosman comes over, and he's like, no, he was right. You only did 49. I'm like, you're coming in this situation, like, with no information.
No way he knows. There's no way he knows that you did 49.
Well, and I'm like, even if you did know I only did 49, I'm like, the judge just said 50. So why would I keep going? And so anyway, I did the rest of the workout doing like 52 double unders because my judge was, I don't know why he was saying 50. And then when I stopped, he would immediately say, no, you're not done. I'm like, I don't get it. But then it was Bosman would come over and be like, no, he was right. I'm like, I know he was right, but he said 50. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. It's got to be one of the most challenging things to organize judges for. While you guys were talking, I was thinking of any other professional sports that requires so many judges.
Yes.
I mean, it is a logistics nightmare, right, to judge CrossFit?
And do not get me wrong. there are a ton of amazing judges out there that did a phenomenal job out there. And I'm not saying that, I'm not making a blanket statement that all judges are bad because I had one bad judge who whatever in the situation. I know that, and I probably wasn't the only athlete that had to deal with that. There are tons of great athletes, and it is so appreciative what those judges do and the standards that they get put with.
It never sounded like you were attacking the judges. It sounded like you were attacking the leadership.
Well, exactly. That was kind of my say, was the fact that I just wish that there were ways in there where the athlete had more of a say, or at least could challenge some things, I guess, in some way. That was always like a hard part for me to understand is, well, why can't it go? It always felt like it could only go in the opposite direction. It always could go against you and not for you.
Yeah.
They did have some things in place where I think if you challenged, and I could be wrong on this, but if you at the games, if you challenged it and they reviewed the tape, they also reserved the option to do even more damage to you. To be like, the judge.
I don't know if I've ever had a problem at the games. I think because they only take like higher level CrossFit staff for the games referees, right? I don't know if I've ever had a problem with any ref.
I mean, they try to, but there's
lower level competition. I think I've had a couple. I mean, I've had like one or two run-ins at a regionals or something, but it was never anything terrible. The one time I had that bad call at the games, like it didn't really affect the workout. It was more just the principle of it that like someone was coming over with no information on the situation and telling me I was wrong. And I'm like, no, I'm not wrong. Like, this isn't a debate on who's right or wrong. I'm like, he's telling me 50, so I'm moving on, and then he's reneging on it. So, yeah, I think that was a frustrating part. But
I had a regional where, and in my situation, I was fine. I didn't need the points that I missed out on possibly because of a no rep that I got hit with. And it was on that final workout. I think it might have been 16, where it was like 30 calorie assault bike, 20 burpees.
Oh, and then the sandbag.
And then sandbag, yeah. And I got hit with a no rep on my sandbag because I was told that I didn't stand up all the way. Well, I go frame by frame, like from the CrossFit,
feed.
The CrossFit feed or whatever. I go frame by frame, and the rep that I got hit with a no rep on looked exactly the same as every other rep, and I froze it and I brought it over, And,
yeah, but you can't use outside footage.
It didn't matter. And it didn't matter. But I kept thinking in my head, like, what if this would have happened to someone who was on the bubble that year?
Yeah,
it was a 15 or 20 second penalty or no rep, which in that workout would have probably dropped
everything.
Me like eight or nine places. It was something crazy, and so that was.
Well, I remember, like,
I was like.
I mean, we've seen that unfortunate event. I think it was Jeff Evans. This is way back, like 2014 or 15, and he got one no rep on a rope climb, and it was like that was one of those workouts that 5 seconds was 10 spots.
Huge.
Yeah. I mean, so it has happened, and it's not a perfect system.
I think
never will be.
Them.
Yeah.
I think they actually reviewed it for Jeff on that one too. So I mean, that might have been, it might have been the case where he thought it was, but it was a bad rep. But either way, and maybe exactly, it's when you do subjective movements, it's going to be subjective. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. I remember hearing stories on the other side of one athlete went up for a rope climb. I think it was a legless rope climb, and he touched the crossbar, comes down. The ref was like, "No rep, you didn't touch the crossbar." And he's like, No, I swear I touched it. I promise you I touched it. And the ref was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Oh shit, that worked."
Damn.
I got one of those too. I got a no rep for a legless rope climb. She said I didn't touch the top. The head judge came over and said, "This was here's a good time where the head judge did a great job." He came over and goes, "No, you're good. Go on to your next to the next movement."
Who was the head judge? Was it Bosman?
It was not.
Oh, damn. Matt, what are these things that you're going to do that are more important than the CrossFit Games with your life now?
Oh man, we got to save something for future episodes, right?
Just give us a hint.
No.
Small hint. Is it a product? Are you going to start a cannabis farm? Are you going to start making barbells? Are you going to sell your programming? Is Sammy pregnant? Give us something. I mean, you were so nice enough to do your release on your Instagram and on some other shit rags, and then we have this. We could have made an extra $300 if you would have made the announcement on this.
At least $300
on this chat.
So the one thing I will say is,
you're taking money out of mine and Josh's kids' mouths.
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
You guys have plenty of money. You're fine.
You don't tell me.
No, the one thing I will say is Sammy is not pregnant. That I've heard that a bunch. And
how do you know that?
Get to work, Matt.
No, dude, I want it. I want to have kids like now. And Sammy was like, "Are you out of your mind?" She was like, "No." She was like, "I just went from taking care of you every day for 5 years. Like, I need a year for myself and also to train me how to take care of myself." Because like she's like housebreaking me of like, I'll put a dish next to the sink and she's like, hey, like it goes in the dishwasher. I'm like, oh, I thought you did that. She's like, no.
You're like my 8-year-old.
Matt, are you doing a are you gonna start a business?
I don't know, man. Maybe.
Matt Fraser is a business.
Is part
no, I mean, so there's a couple things that are coming up that because other people are involved and they have the dates, for themselves. I need to.
We're not good enough. We're not good enough.
Oh, I get it.
I'm just taking other people into consideration, and then some of the other projects are just like so early on, they're just not even worth talking about yet. But
right, so there's a launch date for it, and that's part of the game plan for the publicity.
Yeah, so I'm literally just going to take all this like time and effort that I used to put to training to other things, and it's like, dude, working on regular things is so easy when you're not like heart rate at 200 and you're breathing hard and sweating your ass off, and it's like Excel spreadsheets. This is easy day, So, I mean, it's just fun. It's just something different. It's a new challenge that I'm walking into so many things. Like, I have no idea how to do this, but why would I? I've never done it before. So it's just a new challenge.
A sunglass line? Are you going to release a sunglass line? You don't really wear sunglasses, do you?
I wear sunglasses all the time.
Oh, so it is a sunglass line.
No, I don't. No, I'm not starting a sunglass company. No, you'll find out very soon enough with some of it. But
well, we're friends, man.
I know. I know. People will text us and DM us. And I know this about Matt. No, we know.
And you get reply to every DM.
I had no idea that you were. And I get a text message from like 5 people. I was like, what? I don't even. Who is that?
Josh, what's the etiquette on team guys attacking team guys publicly? What's the etiquette on that? Yeah, like when team guys talk shit about other team guys publicly, is there an etiquette behind that? Is that okay? Is that frowned upon in your community? Like, what's the deal? Like
jokingly or like for real?
No, for real. Like if you were to come on this podcast and tell us about bad shit you saw team guys do.
I mean, I guess.
Or to attack. Go on. Is there an etiquette?
I would say there's an etiquette. I would think so. I would think, you wouldn't want to air out your dirty laundry. I think that obviously in any line of work, you're going to have the good and the bad guys, right? You're going to have guys that.
Hey, you have that beautiful microphone. Come closer to it. There you go.
Will you turn my volume down? I was trying to be nice. Look at this.
Your full blast.
Look at that, dude. What's up?
Look at that fancy mic.
I know. Dude, I'm real deal.
You got
brand new?
It is. I got it in the mail, and I called up Sevan and took a picture of it, and I was like, "Look what I got. I'm better than you now."
Oh,
my name is Sevan, right? My name is Sevan.
I don't care what your name is. I'm going to call you Sevan.
So you're supposed to be like silent professionals, and there's clearly ones in your group who aren't silent professionals. But I know that there's different opinions on that. But I mean, like outside of that, about kissing and telling, I'm talking about like actually turning on your teammates, like telling stories about them, going public with them.
Yeah, I think it's typically frowned upon. I would say it is. I'd have a hard time. I would keep it inside the, in the platoon space inside the house, right? Like that you deal with that shit on your own because every instance typically has those, right, where you're going to have things that happen. You're going to have things that come up, and you deal with it how you should deal with it, right? It doesn't need to be public knowledge every single time that something bad happens, because then what happens when that happens is it becomes a blanket statement that, oh, all these guys are bad. Every one of them's bad. They're all bad. And that's just not the case, and it's not true at all. But it doesn't mean that they're all good either, right? I think putting on a uniform and giving a title doesn't make you a good person. And I think that goes with any line of work, not just the military.
Do they tell you, hey guys, keep your mouth shut? Don't ever talk about these missions when you get out. Don't take pictures. Like, or what are the rules and regulations of sharing the details of missions, or is it different for every mission?
I think it's different depending on the clearance of the mission. If there's when you have like TS clearance and things like all of us have TS clearances, right? Top secret clearances, and then there's even higher clearances than that, and so it just depends on the mission, right? I think everything gets at a certain time. I believe that most. I don't know if it's 100%, but I think most missions get declassified after a certain amount of time. So, yeah, you're definitely told that. Yeah, obviously, like, this stuff can't be talked about, right? Like, you can't talk to you definitely can't be talking about tactics and things, right? Where giving the enemy information on how we do our work.
You're not taking a selfie and like geotagging where you are.
You should be, right? I hope so.
When people do make a big hullabaloo, when SEALs do like come out on news stations or podcasts and they start airing out the dirty laundry, what do the rest of you SEALs start turning into chatty Cathys and start DMing and texting each other like, hey, what the fuck is this idiot doing? Or do you agree with them or you don't agree with them? Like, does it cause?
I've never really had to deal with that inside of like my close buddies, so I don't know. I've never been part of those scenarios. Where things are coming out. I'm sure there is. I'm sure that's going to happen, right? I mean, especially brothers. I mean, we work pretty closely together for a long period of time. We go through a lot of things together, and you become very, very close with your brothers, basically. And so, when big things happen, yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some talk between each other, right? And seeing and giving and figuring out like what the game plan is, how they're going to handle the situation, whatever it is necessary, right? Just like any normal situation, any normal human beings are going to do.
I like Josh's voice when he talks SEAL talk.
It's manly.
Gets real like. Matt, when was there a moment when you decided you were in with both feet in CrossFit? And if there was a moment when you had to be like, okay, fuck it, this is going to be my only vocation, what was harder, making that transition or making the transition to get out? And was there a similarity in the feeling? And do you understand the question?
Yeah, I get it. I don't. You just don't want me to go off on a tangent.
Yeah. We don't know shit about your retirement, and we're 50 minutes into this podcast.
I don't think either decision was difficult. Coming into CrossFit, when I finally decided like, okay, I'm going to stop fucking around and commit to this thing, it wasn't really difficult. I was still in school, so I made the decision like, all right, I'm going to finish this last semester of school, graduate, and then dedicate what I have to training. But it was something I wanted to do, so it was a very simple decision, And then with retirement, I mean, it's very heavy. I've talked about it with like friends and family of, whether I loved it, hated it, whatever it is. It's been my life for 8 years, so I'm sure there will be some big adjustments. Some of them amazing, some of them will be a little bit tougher. But I just knew, like, okay, it's time to move on. It's time for the next thing. And I've really put effort into not having my identity be just CrossFit. I've heard about other people that have played with the idea of retirement, but then like they really, really struggle with the identity side of it. Of like, I mean, all of us, most of us, the only reason someone knows my name is because of CrossFit. It's not because they are a huge fan of my engineering career, like there's nothing like that.
That's what I was. I got your cards.
Yeah. So no, it wasn't, it was a very easy decision. But I say that now. We'll see. I hope it's still a very easy decision when the Open starts going, when Sanctionals start going. I hope to be at the games. Like, I hope to get to cheer on my friends. I told Vellner, I was like, bro, like, you better bring it this year. So we'll see.
Well, hold on, pipe down. I need some FaceTime. Funny story about Vellner. I love Vellner. I think
they're all
awesome.
Funny stories about Vellner.
So the first year he goes to the games, right? Was that 17? Was it 17? He was the first year of the games.
16.
Oh, you're right. It was 16. It was 16. Yeah, it was because it was at Carson. Yep. We're sitting at the athlete dinner, and I'm sitting next to Vellner. I had no idea who Patrick Vellner was. Zero.
Nobody did.
Like, I'm like, I'd never heard his name.
He looked like a spectator. He looked like a spectator that got a hold of a jersey and got on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, so we're sitting at that athlete dinner before the game started, and he's sitting there with his blonde hair looking like, some, I don't know, just some kid that, didn't really belong.
He looked like Ronald McDonald all juiced up. Go on.
Right. And so we're talking, and Dave comes in. He starts giving his I'm going to kill you this weekend speech, and if you're not here to win the games, you should leave speech. And Vellner, he's like whispering. He's like, Dave, you're not going to do anything to hurt us. Like, you can't do anything to kill us. We're all here already. And I literally, the thought that went through my head was, dear God, he's gonna fucking kill this kid. Like, Dave is literally gonna kill this kid. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so funny. And that was like my introduction to Vellner. And then all weekend long, Vellner, like, literally, we were next to each other a lot during some of the workouts. And I'm like, who the hell is this kid, and where the hell is he coming from? And it was awesome. It was awesome to see it, and I love Pat ever since then. Good dude.
Yeah, it was he's one of my favorite people, and it was I think the 16 regionals was the first time I saw him. Ah, shit! Did you guys freeze? Did I freeze?
No. I was just sitting perfectly still.
Cool. And so it was the 16 regionals was the first time I competed against him. And that was the year that like he tore something in his bicep, or something in his bicep let go. And
that's right. I remember that.
And then like going back and watching the events, dude, like 20 times every event he would go on the floor, and the commentators, Pat Vellner's with one arm. And finally I was like, for every time they said you were competing with one arm, you have to do 5 burpees. And every time they refer to me as like the second place finisher at last year's games, I'll do 5 burpees. And so I think we both had to do like 200 burpees. It was brutal.
That's funny, man. Yeah, he was just so unassuming, and I think he's still, well, not anymore because everyone knows who he is. But when he was sitting next to me, I'm like, you have no fucking idea. Dave's gonna kill you, bro. Like, you are gonna die this weekend. And he was like, Dave's not gonna do anything. I'm like, oh.
I mean, let's get back to what people give a shit about, guys. Let's get back to what
early years. Like, he's jacked now, but like, especially when he first came in, it's like, how did you qualify? Like, you don't
Sevan doesn't like this because he has no input here, nothing to say.
I have plenty of Vellner stories. Pipe down. Hey, listen, Matt, did you talk to your parents about your retirement, and what did your mom and dad say?
I don't know. Not really. I think I told them, and they just said like, congratulations. So I actually tried retiring last year, and then I told a few people in my inner circle, and I got to talking to. They're like, "No, you can't. You need to go one more." I was like, "Okay." But no, like I think my parents knew it was coming.
Reason?
Like who? Your financial advisor at Fidelity told you that, or who suggested?
Oh no. My financial advisor told me I could retire years ago. No, I think like it was O'Keefe, and he was like, "Yo, I think you would kick yourself in the ass in 10 years, 20 years if you don't take another run at it." And so I just kind of took some more time and just kind of sat on it, thinking of like, all right, what do I want my story to be? And I decided like, yeah, okay, you were right. I want to go give it one more shot.
It's fun when you're in control of your story. It's fun when you're in control of your story. I wouldn't know, but it's really cool when you're in control of your story.
Sevan, you're in control of your story right now.
He's a victim. He's a victim. No, Matt, let him be a victim. It's okay.
Woo! So that's fascinating that O'Keefe, and what did Sammy say? Did she lean either way? Was she hoping you would retire last year, or is she more of a soundboard?
No, Sammy supports me in whatever decision I want. And like she's told me now, she's like, if you have a change of heart in a couple months or next week, whatever it is, she's like, we'll adapt our lives for you to pursue what you want. So I mean, she supports me with whatever decision I want to make.
And just so you know, we will, if you decide to compete again, we won't replace you with James Hobart. I mean, you can come back and
It's true. You can. You can be. You will, if you need to step away from the podcast and come back, we'll let you. It's all right.
So nice Matt O'Keefe. So Matt O'Keefe is that's pretty. I mean, I think that's good advice, and I think you started the podcast off by saying that the window is short, and you're right. Like you're still young, and like you still have the good years left in you. When you brought it up again this year, did he try to give you that same pep talk, and you pushed back, or
no, not at all. Like, no, I mean, everyone in my life that's close to me was nothing but supportive. It's so easy when someone's, not seeing the day to day, not hearing like what my mental health is like or like what my attitude is like every single day. It's so easy to be like, you just won by so much. Like, just go for 6, go for 7. Keep doing it. And I'm just like. When I told the people around me that are close to me, and they were just like, "Yep, great, like congratulations."
Did anyone play devil's advocate?
In terms of
you could have called me, and I could have been like, you could have been like, "Hey, Sevan, try to talk me, go back to going to the games." I'll be like, and I could have just been like, "Matt, you're a fucking idiot. Get back in there." You know what I mean?
No, I don't want it. That's the thing. It's gotcha. Like I'm happy. I'm doing backflips, dude. I walked into this CrossFit thing hoping to like stash, like save up like 10 grand, 20 grand, 7-8 years ago. And then it blossomed into this career. I've done so many cool things. I'm going to do so many more cool things, I'm not looking at it as like this sad moment of like my career is ending. It's like, no, it's just like all the other chapters of my life that I'm just going on to something new and hopefully cooler. Like when I finished weightlifting, it was the same thing of like, I'm never going to have that thrill again. I'm never going to get those opportunities again. When I finished school, it's like, I'm never going to get this again. When I finished CrossFit, I'm like, yeah, it's natural for those thoughts to creep in. But then at the same time, it's like, well, no, like I can do whatever I want,
I love that line. I don't want to want it. I don't want to want it. That's a badass line. Sorry, Josh, go.
And now that you have like 40, 50 grand saved up, you're good to go. You don't need to.
Yeah, man.
To do
Anymore. Dude, dividends off 50 grand, man. It's real.
All day, baby, all day.
And have you achieved that headspace, or is that kind of like what you've been saying this whole show, that the headspace of not wanting to want it, or is it like, okay, you're in that mindset now, and you know that the thought could come back and forth, like basically like There is definitely a shift in your identity, right? Because in terms of like your daily practices and what you're used to.
I think the biggest thing that I've pointed out that will be the toughest part for me was, the last couple of years, life has been very simple. It's been hard, but it's been very simple because I had one defining thing that I got to base 100% of my decisions off of. It was anything that came up, is this going to help my performance or hinder it? And so stuff that was even outside of the gym, my life was the most elementary version of itself of just like, get better, get better, get better. Nothing else mattered. Nothing else happened. That everything was pointing in that one direction. So now it's like, okay, well, if I'm not basing my life decisions on how it's going to affect my performance, what do I base it off of? So I think that's going to be the only thing that comes up that I've identified of like, all right, well, what do I base my decisions off of now? Because, is it like do whatever venture is going to pay you the most money? Is it whatever venture is going to make me smile the most? Is it whatever venture, what is my compass now?
Well, how hard will you keep working out? What will your training look like? Do you have any idea, or are you just going to just wing it at first and just see what feels good?
I'm going to train.
Hi, Sammy.
Yeah. I'm going to train, to stay fit, to have fun. And I'm going to put a little more emphasis on trying to look fit now instead of just trying to be fit.
I got a great program. Check it out.
But yeah, I don't know. I've been working out for a little bit now, and it's just way different. One of the first workouts I did back, it was like assault bike and sandbag stuff, and it's like as soon as you get off the assault bike, I just have the mentality of like, no, pain doesn't matter. Grab the sandbag and go. Like, start hammering reps. Worry about how your lungs feel when you're done. And then I was like, wait, no, I don't have to do that. I can enjoy my time in the gym now. It's not all just like grinding until like you're at a pain level that you just can't handle anymore.
Pain don't hurt, man. Pain don't hurt.
Yeah, I know, dude. Oh, what my hero.
Are you healthy, Matt? Like, do you have anal polyps, or like is your knee bothering you, or how's your back? Like, are you healthy?
I'm so offended right now.
No, I'm good. I'm good, dude. I think the great thing about this is like I got to choose my retirement. Like, how lucky is that? Like, how many athletes that this was their life don't get to choose that moment? They're forced into retirement. I've talked to so many people in the NFL, and they're like, no, you don't get to pick your retirement date. You're told your retirement date. And so I'm very lucky that I got out when I did, because no, I didn't break something. I didn't twist something the wrong way. I always figured that's how my career would end, of like just my knee bending the wrong way doing something. But yeah, I mean, I'm good. I'm healthy as I've ever been. My body's better than it was back in 15. So yeah, I mean, I'll keep training, having fun with it. But,
you've been doing CrossFit for 8 years?
Yeah, I first went into a gym in 2012. Yeah, so a little over 8 years.
It's interesting there too. For I heard Dana White say this in a press conference that fighting in the UFC is not a career; it's an opportunity. And you can kind of almost say that about every single professional sport, just in relativity. Meaning, if the average NFL player only lasts 3.5 years, the odds of lasting in that arena are very, very, very slim, right? And
yeah,
so it's an interesting message that the most successful CrossFitter in the history of the CrossFit Games, in the history of the sport, his career was 8 years, and it was basically 5 glory years, and it's kind of a miracle. I mean, that you have. Go ahead.
You look at some of these other athletes, like how many years has LeBron James been playing? How many years has Tom Brady been playing? And it's like, they're in a sport where, for me, comparing myself to any NFL player, it's like, dude, the bar doesn't hit back. Like, it's all controlled. There's nothing coming on your blind side and twisting your knee the wrong way, anything like that. And it's like, man, they're in the sport for 20 years. Why am I calling it quits now? And I've had some of those moments. But then the big part of it too is well, I'm also not getting paid $25 million a season, and my season isn't 16 weeks. It's not like a small portion of the year. If someone wants to plop $20 million in front of me, yeah, I'll go another 10 years. My body's good, but it's just there's not that level of incentive. So it's like, okay, at a certain point, you need to take money out of it, and because it's real. Money does not buy happiness. So it was a very conscience.
But if you're happy, and then you have money, ooh,
yeah, it's sick. But I've realized that I've done competitions over the last couple of years. So Dubai, perfect example. That I walked away from the 3-day competition with $100,000, and going in, I'm like, all right, the podium prize was $50,000, and then I got another 50 in bonuses. But when I went there, I'm like, all right, I'm not winning 50 grand. I'm going to win an excavator. I'm pretending like I'm not getting this money. I'm not going to put it into the bank account. I'm not going to sit on it and save it. I'm buying an excavator. And sure enough, the money comes in, and I'm like, I'll do the responsible thing, put it in my savings, and just like planning for my future. And then I'm just like, fuck, winning that money changed nothing in my life. I'm living in the same house, driving the same car, everything, and it's just like I put the money away. And so I realized, like, I'm living the life that I want to live because it's what I want, not because it's what I have the resources for. Like, if I want to go out and buy a supercar, like, yeah, I can go out and buy a Lamborghini. It doesn't mean I want to. Like, so I'm living a lifestyle that it's my dream already. So it's like, well, why am I just stacking more money? What's it all for?
Isn't it, Josh, I was just thinking, you played, and unfuck me if I'm wrong, but you played the most dangerous professional team sport in the history of mankind. And for you to retire from that, you have to be in 20 years or have a near-death experience. I mean, right?
Yeah, or get pretty messed up. Some guys get told like, hey, you can't do the job anymore because of you get blown up or for whatever, you lose eyesight, lose a limb, something like that. But yeah. What was the question?
And how long I was just thinking about that. And how long did you play your professional sport, your dangerous one?
I was in for 8.5 years. 8.5 years.
And in the same amount as Matt.
Yeah.
Played his professional sport. Wow.
I did a sport too, though. I did 2 sports.
Which one? What'd you do?
I exercised.
You
don't call it that, Josh. Don't call it.
I exercised.
What was the other one?
The one you just talked about.
Oh yeah. Matt doesn't do team sports.
No, he doesn't.
No. He was focused. He flourished at one. He
exceeded his expectations, I'm sure.
A little bit.
Well, Matt, I'll be, the 1 millionth person to congratulate you on your retirement, buddy. And it was very fun to watch, and it was a privilege to get to compete against you. I wish I would have beaten you in 2014 and every other year I competed against you.
Thanks, man.
But I didn't, and I'm not lying. I'm not trying to, tell you how great you are because you already know. But what you did last year was awesome, and it was really cool to watch. And I'm glad you came back for that year. We'll see. I don't know if I believe you if you're 100% out. I think there is a small possibility that after this year, you feel the burn again, right? You feel that itch, and maybe the retirement life just isn't all what it cracked up to be. But I don't know. I could be wrong. You could be done. You could be retired.
Maybe front porch sitting just isn't for me.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I don't know.
When you say that itch, Josh, do you mean that chip? That chip on his shoulder?
Could be. The chip could come back. The chip could come back. You never know.
An itch is different than a chip on the shoulder.
Yeah, Matt had a lot of fire.
I still do. I'm just going to apply it to something else.
I'm not saying you're not. I'm sure whatever you do from here on out is going to be fun and cool, and I'll try to keep tabs on it. Unless you start a coffee company, and then I'll hate you for the rest of your life.
Then we're competition.
Then we're competition again. Back to the same old.
Matt, it's 2:10.
Hey, we forgot to call Dave. We got to call our 4th guest.
I'm not doing that anymore. I actually felt horrible about that.
Really? I'll do it.
Yeah, you do it. I didn't like that. Yeah, I didn't like that. At all. Afterwards, I felt horrible about that.
Not your boss anymore, man.
Did you get talking to him?
He never was my boss, but I respect Dave. Dave has integrity, honesty. He's
Did he?
He's an amazing man, and I can't. I felt. It's weird. I felt bad after that.
Oh man, you're getting soft in your old age.
I am not soft. I just didn't like it. Afterwards.
So
but I'm glad it was a good. But I was willing to burn, some friendship equity with Dave in order to get make like 87 more cents on YouTube.
We should call someone else then. Maybe we should prank someone else.
No, we're not becoming like a morning radio show that's prank calling people.
Hey, call Sammy. She's in the house. I saw her walk by, and then when she looks at the phone, just hang up on her, and then let's see if she comes in and hits you with a pan or something.
There you go. Oh, man.
Matt said he had to get off early. Yeah. How are we on time? Okay.
Yeah, I should probably start packing it in.
Oh, yeah. Where do you got to go, Matt? You're tired, bro. Remember?
No. I'm going over there. I'm going to mind my own fucking business. So how about that?
Where are you going?
To mind my own fucking business.
Oh, gotcha.
There we go. Okay.
So in a summation, what we learned about Matt's retirement as we end the show here is that he has some things he's going to be doing, but we can't talk about them. And that Josh thinks he's going to be coming back, and I think he's going to be coming back after a year because he has a huge chip on his shoulder. And
do you
don't
like that, Josh? Think I'm coming back?
I do.
I think that you'll.
Seriously?
I think you'll have feelings and emotions. You're going to fluctuate. You're going to go up and down. You're going to have moments, obviously. I don't know if they're going to be strong enough to bring you back, but I would not count them out. I would not say you're 100% sold on your own retirement. I think you are at this moment. I think you are today.
Me too.
But I think that I think you'll have some different. You'll see. When I got out of the military, I would thank God had something else immediately to jump into. Right, I already had my CrossFit career, and I could stroll right into it. People always ask me, "Hey, do you miss your military? Do you miss the military?" And I did. I missed it a lot, but I had something else that covered it very quickly, and it gave me the same same drive and purpose and dedication.
Yeah.
I think that when you don't have that drive and purpose, that's a hard place to be.
I guess I gotta just go make it. I just gotta go make that purpose, huh?
And I'm not saying that you won't find it. I'm just saying it's gonna be. I'll be interested to see how it plays out. But I'm excited for you.
I'll let you know.
Oh no, we'll read about it. Don't worry. People will. You don't need to tell us anything, Matt. People will text us and tell us about our podcast partner. You don't ever need to tell us anything. We prefer you just tell us what we can and can't talk about, and we'll do the rest.
Okay, cool. I like this. What we got going on here.
I dig it. Well, there it is.
Okay, so we will. Today is Wednesday.
Yes.
So we'll do another show on Saturday.
I thought this was a weekly thing. You're going like every 3-4 days.
It is. If I start trying to get you guys to do it sooner, then you guys will always have stuff to do. Like Josh will be like, I'm getting my hair done. You'll be like, I'm on a boat. Shit like that. So I just start laying out days. How's Saturday?
How about next Wednesday?
That's a great day.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Matt, let me ask you one final question.
Wednesday.
Are we going to find out that you're off the podcast before? Are you going to tell us before you announce it to Instagram?
Yes, I will tell you guys when I'm done with you. I will tell you directly.
Okay. Awesome. Hobart.
What a good
Stand down, Hobart. Stand down.
I enjoy this. I hope it keeps going on. I'm very glad that we made it past 5 episodes, and I hope we just keep going.
I do too. I love it. I'm having a good time.
How would you feel if one day, like all of a sudden in the fourth square when you signed on, Patrick Vellner was there just to like wish you happy birthday or something?
I love it. I love Vellner. I keep in touch with him all the time.
That's why I chose him as a hypothetical.
Yeah. Vellner's a lot of fun. I think he would be a great guest at some point. If we ever run out of material to talk about, I think Vellner would be a great.
You forgot. You didn't tell a good story, Sevan. You didn't tell any of your good stories.
No. Oh my God, Josh. We're trying to wrap this up. Don't egg him on.
Today.
As we get off here, Matt, will you tell Josh to what he has to do when I hang up? Don't turn off your browser.
Don't turn off your browser.
Don't act like I'm the dumb one here. All right, bro. We all know you're the dumb one.
All right. End this call. Let's go.
You and that fake nose.